Hi everyone, welcome to Series 2, Lesson 2. We're looking at Scott Joplin's Maple Leaf Rag, a simplified version of it. If there's anyone who wasn't able to email me to get a copy of this music that we're learning, you can go to this website. This website provides free sheet music for a number of musical selections. So it's www.makingmusicfun.net. And that's where this came from. This is a one-sheet version. When I printed this out, they offered the one-sheet version. The version that I see is there now is actually a two-sheet version. So it's a little bit more spacious in the measures. But it'll be the same music that we're working off of here. So what I wanted to go over today was the notation that I want you to be writing onto your sheet music. So we start with, remember up here we have the fingering on the top, and then down here we have this is rhythm. We write in numbers for how we count through the measures. And then we have more numbers down here for the left hand fingering. So what we started with is the makingmusicfun.net already wrote in a 1 here. So that's sort of your starting hand position. And so you don't have to write anything there. That means your thumb of the right hand is going to be on this note, which is an F. And so we had 1, 5, 1, 3, 5, 1. Those are the numbers over these notes referring to your fingers. In piano, the thumb of each hand is finger number 1, so they're kind of like mirror images of each other. Then we have 5, and I have a 1 circled here. If you remember from lesson 1, that means because the thumb is covering both the F and the E, so it has to drop down to hit the E there. But your hand position stays the same for the other notes. So it's 5, a 1 circled, 2, 5. And you see that this is tied here. You should write tie there. And then it'll be the same thing here, the same fingering. So it'll be the 1, 5, and you should write this on your music. 3, 5, 1. Then we come over here. We still have the same thumb position, so it's the same hand position. The thumb is on the F. But then we have some new notes here. You see that flat notation. It looks like a B with a little pointy end. That means flat, and we'll go over what that means at the keyboard later in the lesson. But we have this added in that's going to make it a little more interesting to learn. But it's 1, 3, 5, 4, 4, same thing, 1, 3, 5, 4, 4, 1, 3, 5, 1, 3, 5. And then we have a 1, 5 and circled, which is a chord. And then I wrote here move. That means you're changing your hand position. Now the 1, instead of being on the F, the 1, your hand has moved up, and your 1 is now going to be on the A flat. So I just want you to write this into your first 2 lines, or if you go and it's a 2-page version, it might be longer than that, but you'll go to measure 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we're going up to measure 9. So I want you to be writing your notations that far and get it all written out before we start at the keyboard. Okay, so the next thing is the left hand, which is the bass clef. We have the 5, which is your pinky, is on the C, bass C, and your second finger is on the F. Makingmusicfun.net wrote both of those in. So that's your hand position. Your pinky is on the C. Your second finger will end up on the F. Then you can write in 1, which will be your left thumb here, and then it repeats 5, 2, 1, 5. Here's the flat notation again. So it'll be, the 4 will be a flat note, which is one of the black notes, and then 5, 5, 4, 5, 5. And the 5 is circled here, and I wrote move and underlined it. That means a change in hand position. You see that 5 here was the bass C. Now it's moved up to the F, so it's moved up higher. So it'll be 5, 3, 1, 5, 3, 1, and same thing, 2, 5, circled. So it's a chord. So now we need to write in some numbers for the rhythm. So we have 4, 4. If you went through Tarantella with me, you'll remember that 4, 4 means there's 4 counts in every measure. We have a pickup note here, and so we're going to have 1, 2, 3, 3 counts, and then we'll come in on 4. And then we have, that's this note here. So it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, and then it'll be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then we'll have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. All of this, the and, 3 and 4 and, is this tied note here. So you'll be playing these notes, 1 and 2, and then you'll hold this one, and 3 and 4 and. And then this is the same thing over here. Then we have 1, and that is going to be this note here. And then the right hand comes in, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And this is going to be one of the trickiest parts, because it's going to be left hand here when the right hand is resting. That little symbol there is a rest, meaning the right hand doesn't do anything. The left hand is playing. The right hand rests, so that's 1 and 2 and right hand plays. This is being held while the right hand is playing. And then the left hand plays for 3, right hand plays for and. Left hand for 4, right hand for and. Then it repeats. We're going to have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. And so the way you know what note is being applied on what count is it lines up exactly. So the 1 is it's resting for the right hand and playing for the left hand. The and lines up with that note. The 2 lines up with that. That lines up with the and. Then we have a rest and played there. Then we have the and for the right hand. The 4 is left hand note and rest for the right hand. And then the and for the right hand is a note. Then we have, this is a little bit more straightforward. 1 for that note, and for that note, 2, and 3, and 4, and. So here we have 1 and 2 and. The 2 and is applied to that note because it's a quarter note. Because the ands in the counting refers to eighth notes, which has the bar here. So we have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Then repeats, same kind of rhythm. And then we have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So it's the same thing where this 1 and refers to these chords, 2 chords here in the right and left hand. The 2 and refers to those 2 chords, 3 and to those, and then the 4 is that note and to that note. So now we're going to go over to the keyboard and put together what we have written out here. If you didn't write all of this down, now would be a good time to maybe replay the video and make sure that you've written in all the notation that we've gone over here. And then that means when we move over to the keyboard, it'll make more sense, and the writing will already be on your paper. Okay, we're here at the keyboard now, and I wanted to point out middle C is this key here with the C on it, and to remind us of our hand position. So here's middle C, it's in the middle of the keyboard, it's the C in the middle of the keyboard. And our hand position for Maple Leaf Rag is pinky down on the C below middle C, which is bass C, and your other thumb, right hand thumb, on the F above middle C. So this is your starting hand position. Okay, so just to remind us how the first 4 measures go, you get your correct hand position, and then we start counting 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3. Now, remember the thumb is playing double duty. It's playing the F here in this measure, and then here it drops down and plays the E. But the rest of your fingers stay in this position. So the thumb is doing double duty there. So let's just review that one more time. So we'll go, we have the pickup note here on count 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, we've only been using the 5 and the 2 in the left hand. Now we're going to use the 4, and it's going to be a black key. So it's going to be here, and our 5 will still be the C. Here our 3 in the top line had been this A. Now it's going to be this flatted A. So a flat is a half step lower than the written note. So here we have A, a half step lower, a whole step lower would be G. A half step lower is A flat. So same thing with here, we have our 4th finger would be on Good Bikes Don't, that would be the D, but here it's going to be a half step down, so it's that black key there. Then we also have this one. So remember the saying for the line notes in treble clef. It's every good boy does. It's the 4th line note, and it's flatted. So whereas our 5th finger up here had been playing this C, now it's going to be playing a D flat. So even though it's a half step lower than the note written, it's going to be, the finger will be reaching higher for that black note above where the 5 had been. So here we're going to, remember we play, it's the 1 for the left hand, the count 1, 4th finger, first count, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So let's do that again. So it's the 4, and that's going to hold while you play these notes. 1, 3, 5, and then the 5. So I see something we need to change in our writing here. So this is going to stay 5 here. So you're reaching for it, but it's going to stay 5. You're going to drop down again to the C, which was 5 up here. It's going to stay 5. And that's that syncopation again in ragtime. So let's do that again. See how the left hand and the right hand are taking turns in playing. Then I have the move written here for the left hand. Left hand is going to come up here. Good bikes don't fall. That 5 is on the F. So it's going to go 5, 3, 1. And it's another flat. So normally the 5-3-1 would be like that, but it's flatted for the third finger. This is going to stay the same for the right hand, the same position, except that the A is going to be flatted. Remember, the rhythm is going to be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, because we have eighth notes mixed with quarter notes, 2 eighth notes and a quarter note. 1 and 2 and. The 2 and is the quarter note. 3 and 4 and. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Then I wrote down here that the right hand is going to move, so it's going up here. We have an A flat and an F. It's a big chord, so it's going to go past your normal 5-finger position. That's that chord. And then this is circled, but it's actually not going to move. So I'm not sure why the website circled that. But so you were playing some flats and stuff, and now you're just going to be playing the 2-5 chord. That's the chords that you'll be playing. So let's go from the beginning slowly. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. So that's as far as we're going to go in this lesson. And then we'll move on from there in the next lesson. But let's play it through one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4. The other thing to note is even though this is a quarter note that gets 2 and 4 and here, you see the dot there that's on the top of these notes? That means staccato, which means as short as possible. So we're going to make those phrases. These are also staccato, these chords. So even though you're playing it as short as possible, the amount of time dedicated to that note has to equal the 2 and. So it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So that sort of helps you keep your place in the piece while you're playing. So that covers the first 2 lines in my music. Your music might be the 2-page version, but it covers the first 9 measures of the piece. So I hope you have fun with that this week. See you next time.